This is a mistake that you cannot afford to make the next time you write an estimate. So I was at a meeting with a referral partner the other day, and we went through the meeting, everything went fine. And there was a point where it was time to start to put together the estimate. We had gone through a bunch of different pain questions and learned a lot of good information, but it was time to put the estimate together. And when we left that meeting, we scheduled the next meeting like we're supposed to. That person that we were sitting down with had decided that they were going to just cancel the meeting and ask us just to send the estimate. How many times has that happened to you? If somebody asks you to send the estimate after you've confirmed a meeting, and now all of a sudden they decide, I want to just cancel that meeting, just send it over. We're gonna just review it. We'll make our decision then. How many times have you heard that? Well, guess what? This is your point. You're either going to make a decision to send that to them, and you're never going to hear from them again, or you're going to send a response that's probably going to make you uncomfortable. And the response is, no, I'm not going to send you the estimate. Now, it's probably a little nicer than that. You're going to have to nurture a little bit, be a little nicer. But here's the thing. When somebody asks you to just send them the estimate, they're doing a couple of things. One is they want to maintain or take control of the conversation. So you don't want that. You want to be kind of equals, as you will. You want to be able to be on the same footing as them. You want to be person to person, not I'm working for you kind of a relationship. It's not so much a consultant when they do that. You're more of a vendor that way, right? You're a commodity. And the other thing that they do is they're going to look at that bottom line, the number, and make a decision based on that. Number one, you become a commodity. Number two, they're making a decision based on the number, not all the other stuff before you got that number. So let me put it this way. When you have that meeting set up, don't cancel it. If they do cancel it, reschedule it. Insist on it. And here's what I always tell people. The reason I ask to go through this estimate, there's always questions that come up. Now, some of those questions are very easy to answer. Sometimes they're just clarification questions, but sometimes they're questions that can mean something different and may change the scope of this. So I want to make sure that I've written down this estimate or I've created this estimate to match what you're looking for. And if it doesn't, then I want to be able to change it before you get a copy of it. And the reason is if you get a copy of it and all of a sudden it has some incorrect information, now you're looking at 2-3 different versions of this. Which one's the right one? And I don't want to confuse anybody. So when I tell them that, they often say, well, okay, then let's just schedule it. I rarely ever have somebody still insist after telling them that they still want to just send me the estimate. If they decide to say, after I've explained why it's important for us to meet and go through the estimate together, and again, this could be via Zoom or any other platform or in person. But if they insist on just send me the estimate, I've lost the deal. And so then I would be pushing back a little bit more and saying, boy, it sounds like I've just lost the deal. You just need another estimate to compare to one of the people that you're looking at, right? You're just comparing me to somebody else to give them and keep them honest. Is that what you're trying to do? I just want to make sure, if you're doing that, I just want to make sure that I'm aware of that up front. And I say it probably a little bit nicer, but basically what I'm trying to say to them is, I know what you're doing. I don't mind being that person that's going to send you an estimate so that you can knock down the other person's price. I don't mind doing that. But if you're going to do that, I also know that I'm not going to win the deal. So I'm not going to harass you. I'm not going to pester you. I'm not going to talk anymore to you because I know I'm not going to win that deal. I'm saving myself time. But if you determine that they're going to be using this with another competitor and they're going to compare you with another competitor and they're basically trying to beat up the other person, then call it, make them understand that you understand what they're doing, but also make it so that they're clear about we're not talking again, correct? Because what you're doing is you're cutting that communication off and you're making it so that it's a hard and steady no, so that if they do come back to you, what you have is an opportunity to say, oh gosh, I thought we were not going to speak again. What happened? And you're going to delve into some of those other conversations that happened with the other vendor because it didn't go as planned and they weren't able to match your number or they weren't able to compete on what you were providing at a number that was competitive. So sometimes people do that where they just are really outrageously high and sometimes they're outrageously low. But either which way, you want to make sure that you're having that conversation with them and determining where you are with that. So going back to the conversation, when you go through the presentation part of your process is getting them to ask you questions. The reason you're getting them to ask you questions is because you want them to ask you questions that are really clarifying what your estimate is going to do for them. And when you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to get more and more of a feeling of, oh, we're working together. This is actually going to go forward. If they don't ask those questions and they just sit there and they let you present and they go, okay, great, send it over, then I would almost ask the question, I'm surprised you didn't have any questions for me because typically questions come up. What what comes to mind, and insist on a question. Because if they haven't asked any questions, what that usually means is they're not willing to go with you. So that might be another opportunity after that, if they don't ask any more questions after you ask them for a question, is say, it seems to me like I'm not winning this deal. Is that correct? Make them say, no, you're not going to win the deal. Because then you don't even have to send them the estimate. I've done it before where I've had a conversation with somebody where we went through it. They said, thank you very much. That sounds great. Send it over. And I asked that question and said, doesn't sound like I'm going to get this deal. Is that a correct statement? They then came back and said, no, I've got somebody that I'm going to use. We've made a decision, blah, blah, blah. I say, great, excellent. Thanks for that information. And then I don't ever send them the estimate because I don't want them to have that as a comparison piece. And they shouldn't have that information or data to be able to use with anybody else. The other part of the conversation when you're going through the estimate is to be able to make the adjustments that you need to be able to make wording wise to make sure that it's clear, so that there was something of a question that does come up that maybe it's in the wording of the estimate that how it was written that needs to be tweaked. So it allows me the opportunity to then look at that and say, how would I word this to be more clear so that that question doesn't come up later? Because quite honestly, if I'm going to have a problem, I would rather have a problem before we sign a contract than after we sign the contract. So that's why it's really important for me to make sure that those pieces that they're not comfortable with or something that they're asking questions about, if it's a wording tweak that needs to happen, then I want to make sure that I have the opportunity to make those tweaks. Finally, one of the things that I want to make sure that I do is when I finish that meeting, I want to get a sense for what direction we're going at the end of that meeting. So obviously when we have that meeting, the conversation starts out with something along the lines of, when we finish this conversation, we're going to have either a yes answer or a no answer, some form of that conversation. And so we're either going to talk about this estimate and you're going to make a decision to move forward, or you're going to make a decision that we're not moving forward. And that's okay. But the other statement that is not allowed is essentially, I want to think it over. And what you need to do is be clear about what your expectations are by the end of the meeting so that you get a good, clear yes or a no answer. And if they do come with a thinking over, you can then come back to them and say, we talked about that not being an option. When you say think it over, it's basically a no. Is that correct? It's really important that as you go through that estimate review, that you're being clear as to what you're delivering, that you're bringing back up the pains that came out of the conversation in the initial meeting or in the meetings before. Whatever the pain thing is that you are fixing or the problem that you're fixing, that's what you're going to want to make sure your whole estimate is worded around so that when you get to the end of that estimate review meeting, they feel very comfortable moving forward because the numbers all make sense. They can support their decision with the logic that's required. So here's the bottom line. Hold your posture. Stay focused on keeping that meeting. If the meeting gets rescheduled, that's fine. Reschedule it. Do not allow a meeting to be canceled and just ask to be sending the estimate. That's not acceptable. And if you do that, you're losing control. That's the key to remember. They want to keep control, and so do you. But both of you have to be in control at the same time. The only way to do that is to maintain and hold that meeting. In the end, you're going to be able to keep control of your sales process by doing that. If you found this to be helpful, like and subscribe because that'll help this channel grow and continue to give you more information just like this in the future. Feel free to share it. And remember, slow down and close more.